hard. Primus Fist, Sand Burrower, Hailstone Golem. So this card is trash. Generally, like it's anytime it gets a value trade, you lose tempo, and it's not big enough to make repeatedly healing it any worth anything. Both of these are really good cards. I think having a critical mass of 2 drops is more valuable than having a critical mass of 4 drops, but it's pick one, so we don't really have to worry about either. But I think the Primus Fist's ability is good enough to give it the nod. Like, the amount of tempo you can get off this is surprising. Whereas Hailstone Golem, I mean, it does also provide a lot of tempo by being big and resilient. So it's definitely got that in favour for it. But I feel like Primus Fist is one of the better 2-drops, whereas this guy is still a good 4-drop, but there's a lot of other good 4-drops. When is the reveal? The reveal was last week, sadly. Primus Fist. Let's go Primus Fist. Helm of Mechazor, Borean Bear, Blistering Scorn. I think this is very easy. So this guy, I don't rate Borean Bear very much. Like, it's a 1-3 immediately, which means it's vulnerable to Saberspine Tiger and bad against Demonic Lure and stuff. And it requires quite a lot of Vespers to make it good. I mean, just playing 1 on turn 3 makes it a 2-3, which is fine, but you'd rather not put 2-3s with downsides in your deck. And that's basically what this card is, I think. And Helm is, well, it's a 2-2, it dies to a general hit. Does not have enough board presence to make up for the fact that it's, does not have enough board presence to complement the fact that it's 1 mana. And therefore you can try and get some tempo off it. But this guy is amazing. Easy pick, easy life. Gives us AoE, gives us tempo plays early on, is a solid body, I love it. Oh, here comes the trash. So, Bloodshard Golem, a 4-3 is not like a horrible body, but I'd rather it be a 4-3 with text, because 4-3s do tend to die quite easily. There's a lot of 2 mana removal that kills 3 toughness, 3 drops. As well as it tends to, like, it'll trade down with a 2-drop and a general hit or whatever. Which can be good, this might be worth picking, but Bloodletter is pretty terrible. It's like a Storm Metal Golem with less health and the trades worse. With some minor upside if you buff it. And then Snowpiercer is, I think, pretty good. Like, this is a lot of tempo and damage. It goes kind of badly with the Blistering Scorn we just took, but beyond that, it's a very solid card. Good for pressuring, good for making value trades. I think this might actually be the pick over the Bloodshard Golem. You take a lot of damage doing this, but we can try and pick up some healing or a Concealing Shroud to improve it. Myriad, Bone Chill Barrier, Frigid Corona. So Myriad's like okay. It's not very exciting. It's good with Kara. When you make 2 4/4s, it feels great. Not buffing it makes it a lot worse with Fae. Like the 3/3 for 3 base case is not very exciting. Bone Chill Barrier is really only good with Glacial Elemental. If I was playing Kara, maybe I'd take the chance because making 1/3 walls is quite good. But we're not. But Frigid Corona is great. It's a good tempo tool. It's good with any Arcanist that we happen to pick up. It lets us make space. It lets us slow our opponent down on turn 1. It's quite as spells go. It's quite good as a replacement 2-drop. And worst comes to worst, it's a little bit of deck smoothing and a little bit of tempo and slowdown. Like, you can buy yourself multiple turns of not getting hit in the face by Varth with this thing, for instance. So I'm going to pick that. Saberspine Tiger, Void Hunter, Bright Moss Golem. These are much better. So everyone knows how good Rush Kitty is, and it's probably the pick here. Like, we even have a Primus Fist to combo with it for extra burst. We're playing Fae, so we have Warbird, so our opponent's going to lose a lot of health over the course of the game, so having burst is good. It's very hard to justify anything over the Tiger here. Void Hunter I actually really like. I like this a lot more than most people. You can play it in a safe spot, where your opponent is threatened by it, so they won't want to advance to let you get the value trade. But I don't think that gives it the nod over the raw, immediate power of Saberspine. And then Bright Moss is just a really solid 5-drop. It's nice to have 5-drops in this game. They do tend to 2-for-1 pretty consistently. And Bright Moss Golem's size makes it no exception to that. But I think the Tiger is so good. Like, it's removal, it's burst, it's early tempo, it punishes 1/3s, it does everything. Serpenti, Ephemeral Shroud, Planar Scout. Wow. So this is too small to have any real impact, despite the fact that you can steal mana tiles with it. It's just not worth a card. Serpenti, 4 health on a 6-drop. Lol, no. Which leaves Shroud, which is, you know, I will happily put 1 Ephemeral Shroud in my deck. I don't think you need more than 1. But it is nice being able to dispel buffs and minions with particularly onerous text. Crystal Cloaker, Fenrir Warmaster, Dragonbone Golem. So we've got a great 2-drop, a decent 3-drop, and a 7-drop, which we don't need. Like, we can largely ignore this guy. Like, most of my decks end up with 0 7-drops in them in the first place. And we'll be able to pick up bombs as we go. We can look for them later and leave that slot open for any random legendaries we come across. Fenrir is pretty good. It's more vulnerable than I'd like it to be. It's kind of basically a 3-4, which is not bad, but it's a 3-4 that's also extra vulnerable to Dispel and Chromatic Cold and such things for no good reason. With the advantage of being better when traded into by large minions, which almost never actually comes up. You tend to jam it early on. It takes up board space quite well, but beyond that it's not very exciting. Compared to this, which is a Vesper, which is handy if we get a Frostfire, as well as being just a great 2-drop. I'm more than happy to pick this guy up instead. Wailing Overdrive, Wolf Raven, Bloodletter. I've covered why Bloodletter is trash. I actually quite like Wolf Raven, but it is a bit clunky, especially the turn you play it. This card is broken as hell, as well as hilarious. So I think that's a pretty easy pick. Especially as we have Saberspine Tiger, that is ridiculous and will make people salty. So we've got quite a nice aggro deck here already. Fortune Shaper, Sanguinar, Blue Conjurer. Well, much as having epics would be nice, I don't think any of them even approach the ridiculous power of Blue Conjurer. And, you know, Sanguinar's nice, but Blue Conjurer. This card is so powerful, people are calling for it to be nerfed. It's big, it's hard to kill, draws you lots of cards, generates solid bodies. You know, most Arcanists are good. So this card just represents a ton of value, even if you've only got the Bloodborne spell to go with it. Get in my deck. Legendaries! Ooh, good ones too. White Asp, Golem Vanquisher, Hollow Grovekeeper. So this is a tribal card. The body by itself is not worth it. The 2-4 provoke is like very medium. We don't have any golems to go with it. It would be funny if we did, but we don't. Grovekeeper is, I guess, kind of good. How many taunt minions are we likely to come across? Like some, but not that many. But this card is really strong. It's the same thing as Snowpiercer, but it contributes even more to it incentivizes you to use it as removal because it gives you the Blazing Spines, which can take up space and can deal extra damage. And your opponent always has to deal this card a surprising amount of respect. So it goes well with any sort of value plan, like if we have the Blue Conjurer, and it goes really well with any sort of small plan because it gives +3 attack, like if we've got the Saberspine and the Snowpiercer. So I think this card is a really good multi-role all-star. This thing is great if it hits, but I don't think I want to pick it over White Asp, which is just reliably always good. Woodman, Primus Shieldmaster, Crystal Cloaker. These are solid. So Woodman is like, it's annoying. It's got some clever applications, although I don't think we really have anything that goes well with it. It is a 2-drop, but it dies to a general hit, so that's not really a mark in its favor. Primus is one of the better 4-drops. It's like, it is still replaceable. It will just, it will get traded into and die. It's not that exciting, but it's fine. But I think, given we've got 2 artifacts and a Wailing Overdrive, I just want to get aggro. So I'm going to pick this good 2-drop instead. Kindred Hunter, Crystal Wisp, Altered Beast. Do we have any Arcanists? We have a Blue Conjurer. That's it. Kindred Hunter is at her best when you have 2-drop Arcanists, and she is pretty terrible if you don't. So I think this is probably a pick we'll avoid. Crystal Wisp, I don't think this is really a Wisp deck. Like, this thing, it is powerful, and obviously Mana Death Grip is getting a lot of scrutiny right now, but as a card, it costs you a card to ramp, right? Like, it uses up a resource. And although it helps you get to things like Blue Conjurer, you might not have those in your hand. In the meantime, you've played a 1-1. So I think this card's not very exciting compared to this removal spell, which, although it sometimes gives them the 2/5 celerity, this card is pretty good. We don't have any removal yet. I guess the artifacts count, but I like. We've got a Saber Spine, 2 artifacts, and a Blistering Scorn, and a Pump Spell, and a Frigid Corona. I mean, never hurts to have more removal, right? I think this is the sort of removal that kills things we can't currently kill, and I think that gives it some value. Hello, L7. Thanks for joining. Nice deck. Yeah, it's coming together really well so far. Very smooth. No regrets. Let's get that Altered Beast in here. Another Wolf Raven, Avalanche, Dragon Lark. Right, these are all pretty unexciting. Dragon Lark, this minion is too small to be of any value. Avalanche is kind of powerful when your opponent walks into it. I mean, I guess it gives them the Sophie's Choice with Wailing Overdrive, except your opponent won't know you have either of those cards in your hand or deck, so that doesn't really matter. And they can avoid this by staying in the middle anyway. Wolf Raven, I think this card is probably, compared to these, it's probably solid enough to get the nod. It gets a lot better with Wailing Overdrive. Like, that's a ton of damage if your opponent's standing in the middle or on their side. So I think that probably makes this worth it. Avalanche is exciting. It is exciting, but it's bad. Like, I would take it over Dragonlark, but I don't think I'd take it over Wolf Raven. Like, a solid flyer when we have Pump in the deck is just good. Whistling Blade, Young Flamewing, Necroseer. These interesting choices. So this is also, again, really good with Wailing Overdrive. And Primus Fist. It trades well. And it generally follows this kind of Smork tempo plan we've got going on. Necroseer is nice card advantage. We're not massively in need of that right now because we have a bunch of artifacts and a blue Conjurer. So I think Necroseer is like, he's quite good, but he's kind of replacement level card advantage, if you know what I mean. So I think I'd rather have the tempo tool that is Young Flamewing. On the flip side, this guy is not very solid. Right? A 5/4 that doesn't draw a card is not so good to put in front of you and try to trade off. So die kind of deck with Avalanche because you can Wail an Avalanche. That is true, but that's like situational enough that it probably doesn't come up. An Avalanche is fairly easy to play around if your opponent wants to. The thing I really don't like about Avalanche though is that usually it conflicts with your actual plan of positioning your stuff and hitting your things and hitting things in the face. Because often you're on your own side of the board as well. Stooks is S rank, nice. Congratulations. Already? Bloody hell. And this card is crap. Just so, FYI. I think I'm going to pick the Flamewing because Flyers and Wailing Overdrive is really funny. Gravity Well, Decimus Murkblood Devourer. Oh my god. This thing is like very slow damage in our deck. We don't have any synergy with it. Gravity Well, it's really annoying. It's kind of funny with Overdrive. I don't know if it's really worth it, but I guess it's a spell for Blue Conjurer, so we can still get value off it that way if needs be. But I think Murkblood Devourer might be the pick. This card's really good. It's just impressed me. Playing buffed 4-drops or 2 buffed smaller things after it is just kind of strong. We don't have that many creatures yet, actually. Got a lot of artifacts. I guess we're only halfway through the deck. I kind of want to... I want Gravity Well and Murkblood Devourer. If I could combine them, that'd be great. You'll make Stooks so happy if you pick Murkblood. I'll make me so happy if I pick Murkblood. I lost 10 or 15 games on the ladder. I've mostly featured Murkblood Devourer. I think it probably is the pick over Gravity Well. Like, we don't necessarily have the ways to take advantage of this really well, like constructed decks do. Yeah, go on. Windstopper, Arrow Whistler, or a second Altered Beast. I wouldn't mind having a ranged unit. We've got some flyers, so we're not massively lacking in reach, but Arrow Whistler is pretty solid. Windstopper, I guess, is handy if against ranged units, but is generally terrible. If it had ranged itself, it'd be great. And then Altered Beast. We could just take a second Altered Beast. This card is like, it's a bit awkward. Not knowing what it's going to get sometimes makes it worse than Aspect of the Fox, and of course the fact that it's 2 mana is a big difference. We don't want to overload on removal, especially removal that doesn't actually deny the opponent a creature. On the other hand, I kind of want to have more solid 4s and 5s than this, because I feel like we're going to be playing a more aggressive, tempo-y sort of game. We can sit at the back and kite with with flying units, but generally I think we're looking to lean aggressively. I guess none of these cards really do that. We can cast this on an Ephemeral Shroud for the lulz, but that's not very good either. Gravity Well is too strong. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to have picked the... I don't know, I really like Murkblood Devourer. Like, buffing minions is so useful in Gauntlet. Can Altered Beast get Zoe? That would be sick. Maybe it is the Arrow Whistler. We do actually need creatures here. Also, ranged minions with Wailing Overdrive is potentially quite funny. Might be worth considering. Let's grab this. I don't think Altered Beast is the sort of card you want more than one of. Okay, Sun Elemental, Blue Tip Scorpion, or Death Blighter. This card is 1 health and therefore is generally bad. This card is pretty unexciting. Like, there'll be occasions where you get value out of it, but not many, I think. Whereas this card is just kind of a solid tempo play. It's not, the rate on it's not amazing, but a 3 damage AoE in neutral is pretty good. So I think this is probably the pick. Like, Death Blighter is better than it looks. Blood Tear Alchemist, Ephemeral Shroud, Storm Metal Golem. We don't need a second Shroud, we really don't. We could pick another 6-drop, but again, we don't need it yet. Like, we want 5 drops more than 6 drops. And 4s, I guess. In fact, we just want creatures generally. Blood Tear Alchemist, though, is really good for fighting for early board. It's also nice with, like, Primus Fist. We can reuse it. We can even Altered Beast it, I guess, if we need a body. Wailing Overdrive if your opponent forgets about it. That's pretty cute. We have ways to use this guy. Plus, it's handy. It's a good card. I used to play Scorpion and Kalios when I started out. Oh, man, yeah. You teleport the Scorpion in and kill something. That's so cute. I love it. I'm picking this Blood Tear. Blood Tear forever. Future Shaker, Grimes, Concealing Shroud. Ooh. So, Concealing Shroud, it's a spell, and we have a blue Conjurer, and it's really, really good with our pair of artifacts, which makes this go up a lot in value. Grimes is kind of nuts. Maybe enough to take it over the Shroud. And Future Shaker, legendary neutrals could be basically anything. We could kind of use legendaries, like they're fairly likely to land on this end of the curve. But like, Grimes is kind of the same thing, right? It's just a lot of stats on average for what it does. Yeah. What do you guys think? Grimes or Concealing Shroud? I think both of these cards, given our deck, are better than Future Shaker. Like, Grimes is pretty similar to what we're looking for a legendary to do, especially as you can kind of get duds off this. And Shroud is gross with artifacts. Pylons would love Grimes, but Shroud gives a somewhat better synergy. Yeah, so like normally I'd pick Grimes over Shroud without looking back. Like, Shroud is cool, but it's not that cool. Although, of note, we don't have any healing, so it does substitute for healing. But Grimes is just like bonkers. It's a really good card. No, I think we do want the Shroud. It lets us, it's removal, it's somewhat tempo, and it's so good with the 2 artifacts. I think Shroud's the pick. Kindred Hunter, Dragonbone Golem, Arctic Displacer. Here comes the trash. So, this is a 3-drop. That probably makes it better than these other cards. Now, our curve is fairly low already, although we do have this to provide a late game. What even is our deck? Like, I feel like we're missing everything. We only have 3 2-drops that you're actually... I guess Frigid Corona you can cast on top one pretty happily. We're not running much of anything, really. We kind of need tempo and bombs. We just need creatures, generally. So I guess this will help us curve out. The fact that we can occasionally get value off it with Conjurer is kind of cute. It's probably better than either of these guys. On the flip side, Dragonbone Golem, like, we don't have a big body anywhere in the deck. Like, the biggest thing we have is this Conjurer. So possibly we just need this. But I think we've got 10 more picks to find a big minion. We only need 1. Future Shaker is spicy. That is very true. And Maybe it would have been worth it given how crap these picks are. It's probably the Kindred Hunter. Maybe we'll get really lucky and grab a Circulus or something. Polarity, Mana, Death Grip, Flash Freeze. These are all quite good. Death Grip is probably the best. I do like Flash Freeze, but I think Death Grip gives that so much more of a permanent bonus. Polarity is cute, but we don't really have any way of using it. Cute with Arrow Whistler. It's kind of cool with these, because I think they become permanently larger. I'm not sure. No, I lie. It becomes a 3-2 and then gets the bonus. It becomes a 5-2. It's not very good. Yeah, Mana Death Grip all the way. Wolfraven again. Ghost Links, Ash Method. What's with all these bad cards, man? I would maybe pick this if we were in Kara. Probably not. Probably just going to play the Wolfraven again. Like, again, it's cool with Wailing Overdrive. It's nice because it's a 4-power flyer, so it's quite good for trades in the very early turns when your opponent's likely to have stuff on their side of the board. This card is just like massively medium. Yeah. Swamp Entangler, Koi, Silverbeak. Silverbeak, there's the 6-drop I'm looking for. These cards are crap, Silverbeak's big. We want the Silverbeak. Another Altered Beast, Arctic Displacer, Flash Freeze. Wow, this deck started out so nicely. So I guess this is another Altered Beast, right? Maybe Flash Freeze for Blue Conjurer synergy, actually. And Tempo. This card's not that bad. Like, you can use it to kill a 2-3. And hitting with a general or a 2-drop. It's good at delaying ranged units. Teams up with Blistering Scorn to kill like key beholders. Stunning things is not terrible. And yeah, it goes really well with Conjurer. Probably is this. Putrid Dreadflare, another Snowpiercer, or a Dragonbone Golem? I don't know if I want a third Snowpiercer, or third +3 artifact. They kind of, I guess they do stack well technically, but they're a bit awkward. Like if your opponent has some pings, they fall apart a bit easily. But this card's so boring. We have 2 Wolfravens already. Maybe it is the Dragonbone Golem. Curve all the way up. Meh. I mean, we have a Concealing Shroud to maximize the artifacts, so possibly it is worth taking a third one. And just jamming face as much as possible. See if we can get some healing in the next couple of picks. Yeah, sure. Oh, go away. Alright, Fenrir Warmaster. 2 drops? 2 drops? That is a 2-drop. That's a very good 3-drop, but I think the 2-drop is better. Epic cards vary widely. There are some very good ones. There are some very bad ones. Huldra, so we have 2 Crystal Cloakers. I think that's it. Are these guys Vespers? They're not. Yeah, we have 2 Crystal Cloakers and nothing else, which makes this very much not worth it. So I'm going to take this Fortune Shaper because I just really need 2 drops. Bastion, Spirit of the Wild, Enfeeble. Spirit of the Wild. Wailing Overdrive, Spirit of the Wild is a combo. But so is Enfeeble Scorn. That's gross. So do I go for, do I go for the Spirit of the Wild combo or the Enfeeble combo? Like, this will kill someone. Because that's like, I mean, this makes a random minion into like probably 8 power, so that's 16 damage-ish. That's an easy kill. And this is obviously a board wipe. You like Enfeeble. Honestly, I don't know. Like, it's really awkward because we want to be ahead on board as much as we can. And we have loads of cards that, I guess, like, things like Wolfraven and Crystal Cloaker are less affected by it than others. And same with our artifacts. But it feels like such a waste. I mean, with Scorn, that is cute. That does give us outs. But the Spirit of the Wild is like, that's a lot of damage. It doesn't mean we're really, really forced to play on the opponent's side of the board, though. Like, we have so many infiltrate cards already. It might not even be worth it. Like, there's probably too much. Yeah, let's go for Enfeeble. Give me a good 5-drop. Snow Chaser, Mark of Solitude, Future Shaker. Snow Chaser's pretty decent. Mark of Solitude's really quite decent. Although it takes away some of our kill potential. But it's a very good tempo play. Nice with this guy. Nice with Shroud. Funny with Wolf Raven. Get an 8/5 flyer to make some trades. That could be worth it. And it's pseudo removal. And it's a spell for Conjurer. The other option is to slam this guy and just hope for something great next turn. But actually I'd probably rather have a Crystal Cloaker than a Legendary. We've got loads of 3-drops already. So I think I'm going to pick this Mark of Solitude. Azerhorn, Shaman, Frostburn, Mark. Well, I said I wanted 2-drops, but Frostburn is so good. Now we have multiple solid board wipes. So we can play as like some kind of control deck with artifacts. Like we have creatures that can distract the opponent or try and deal chip damage, hit them in the face, and try and murder all their stuff with our actually surprisingly good removal spells. Yeah, let's go for Frostburn. Be bold, I guess. How many 2-drops do we actually have? We have like 5. A Fist, 2 Cloakers, a Fortune Shaper, and the Frigid Corona. And I guess we have like Ephemeral Shroud and Blood to Alchemist as backups, but really rather not do that. Unless we have Mark of Solitude in hand. And we have loads of things to play on turn 1 going second, so I guess that's not so bad. And Frostburn catches us up really well if we're falling behind. Probably makes it worth it. Okay. Let's take this pile to the gauntlet.